Hey, Brittany.
Hello,
Nice to
Dylan.
see you again.
Nice to meet you.
Listen, it was so great that you were able to make our meeting yesterday, and certainly glad you could make today's meeting. I guess before I hop into any questions I might have for you, coming off of yesterday's interview, what questions do you have for me?
I think I really just wanted to talk a little bit more about compensation. I think I wanted to know a little bit about the day-to-day
Okay.
of the role and expectations. really.
Absolutely. So I guess let's kind of cover them maybe in an order they would exist, right? So, first of all, the day-to-day, right? So what are we doing every day? For the most part, what's gonna happen is you're gonna come in on a Monday. You're going to do what we would call, join team meetings. First, we have a territory meeting that we run. After that, we also run individual management team meetings as well. So whoever's team you're on, you'll be a part of that meeting. After those meetings conclude, then you'll be doing some qualifying. And for the most part, what that is although we have lists of companies and businesses in your respective area for you to reach out to, naturally you wouldn't want to reach out to those businesses if they weren't there anymore.
Right.
So we have a qualifying, time frame, few hours where you're gonna call businesses in the area where you're looking to go prospect, confirm their address, and then also confirm the person that's in charge there so that you know exactly who you're looking to schedule the meeting with. And that's pretty much what your Monday will consist of.
Okay.
Unless we talk further about a management role, and then you'll be making some recruiting calls possibly as well. But for the most part, that's what that Monday looks like. Tuesday through Friday, you're generally going to be in the field, reaching out to business owners, scheduling those meetings, conducting those discovery meetings that we talked about yesterday on the initial interview. Once those meetings are conducted, and don't worry, in the beginning you'll be with a manager.
That was gonna be my next question.
And a trainer. They'll teach you how to do this stuff. You'll kind of just shadow them for the most part, but you'll conduct these meetings and in essence set up presentation dates to meet with the employees. You'll come back and conduct those presentations. You'll answer the employees' questions and get them signed up. So, and that's pretty much what Monday through Friday looks like.
Okay.
So in terms of the compensation side, as you remember from yesterday, the average new rep, without even going into management, working for our company in their first year, if they follow our training and our systems to a T, and work an 8-hour day Monday through Friday, should have no problem clearing $75K their first year. And even though that's kind of a round number, as you remember when we broke it down in the initial interview, how I show you, the average size of a company in our area has about 20 employees. When we go to a presentation for a company that size, the national average is that 50% of those people sign up. Because the plans are so inexpensive and people usually have multiple needs, they usually sign up for 2 or more plans, each plan costing $5 to $15 a week. In a nutshell, the average person's spending about $20 a week on these programs.
Okay.
Multiply that out times 52 weeks, it's about $1,000 per person. The 10 people that signed up, it's gonna generate 10 grand in premium, as you remember. And what that means is the following Wednesday, because we get paid every Wednesday, you'll be, pretty much expecting about $1,625 to $2,500 direct deposited in your bank account.
Okay.
So, make sense?
It makes sense.
So that's compensation. Expectations, really, we live in a world where, we wanna help everybody, we wanna support everybody, but the key to, not just the new person's success, but also our success as an operation, is reciprocation, right? We're gonna help you, we're gonna do a lot of stuff for you. In return, we ask that you kind of follow our systems and our training so that we know that we're not spinning our wheels and that you are going to be successful here. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So hopefully that answers your questions. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think I'll hold them for the end, just in case if,
Cool.
if something comes up, but.
Yeah, sounds good. So I guess my first question I have for you is, why do you think you'd be a great fit for this, Brittany?
I think just based off of my past experience, I've always liked helping people, something that really motivates me. And also too, is I'm a go-getter. Since the beginning, I've been in sales. I'm making a transition to working for myself now, and really being responsible for the earnings that I bring in. I think all of those will translate well into this industry.
Sure, absolutely.
And the fact that I really do enjoy making a difference in other people's lives. So when I spoke to the recruiter, those were some of the things that stuck out to me about this role. And so I think I'll fit in well.
Excellent, that's great. Good stuff, I like that, I really do, that's good. How do you feel about that performance-based pay or commission-only kind of an environment? How do you feel about
It
that?
scares me a little, to be honest with you, right?
Mhm.
Coming from a place where I am a W-2 employee, I do want to make the transition to making money for myself and really seeing what I could do based off of my performance.
Sure.
But there always is something in the back of my mind that says, what if you have a bad week, right? And so that does scare me, but I'm up for the challenge.
Gotcha. That's the right attitude. It's going to be really important here. You know, anybody that's ever owned a successful business has felt the same way that you feel right now.
Right.
You know, especially people that have done what you're doing. They've been in their respective careers with a W-2 guarantee for many years, and they now feel inspired or feel that entrepreneurial spirit to step out on their own and make something bigger of themselves. So you can expect butterflies, you can expect
That's right.
some nervousness and some concern about like, hey, how am I gonna do this? But let me assure you, you know, you've aligned yourself with the right operation to see your success through. So I don't think you'll have any problem here whatsoever.
Awesome.
All right. Last question I have for you, and it's a pretty impactful question. Tell me about a time where you worked really hard towards something. It doesn't have to be a work thing. It could be. But tell me about a time that you worked really hard towards something, and in the end, it absolutely did not work out. What was that thing, and then how did you handle that?
There are a lot of those things. But I think it's the last part of the question, like you said, is how you handle those things. For me, I can go both ends, personal or work. I think I'll go with a work example. I had a large case that I worked on. It took me a very long time. This was a lawyer out of Paterson, New Jersey,
Sure.
which I had to track down in many meetings, and he had partners, and I would just be very consistent with him going back. And so when we got to the point where we looked like we were going to sign an ad contract, and I was going to have him up on television and between Super Bowl games, and he would see himself in his commercial, we got underbid. Another company came in, another carrier, who offered him different slots, not really the same exposure that I was giving him, but he was paying less, right? And so it was a price tag differential, and so to go in and win that business, it would have been a lot of commission for me at the time.
Yeah.
But I recovered. I figured out a better plan, being, how can we reduce the amount that he spends and still keep his exposure? We switched up some networks. I gave him 30 days with the money that he already spent with a competitor. He wasn't getting the results that they had promised. And so that was a perfect time for me to go back in and kind of present to him a new package, right? Good, better, best type of situation. And so I couldn't get the good, so I went with the better.
Okay.
The second option. So I went in and I showed him, look, we can keep the spin the same, right? That time has passed, Super Bowl time is over, but there are other networks that can give you the same eyeballs.
Okay.
We just switch up some times, and because we didn't spend all of your money in prime time, you got to save a little bit, but you could still get the same amount of exposure if we cast a wider net. So it made sense for him, and we got the business, and he's still billing to this day.
So what you're telling me is that you didn't quit advertising just because,
No.
you ran into a tough spot.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the amount of money that was on the table for the commission for the
I'm sure
package that I sent him,
it
was a game changer. And at the time I was also looking to buy a home. So it was like it was something I was holding on to.
Well, listen,
right?
I mean, that's really solid. I mean, there's a good number of people out there that don't think the way that you think. And that's part of what makes you a great fit for this. There's a lot of people out there that, when they're chasing a big fish like that, when they hit that bump in that road or they hit that roadblock, they turn around and kind of play the victim role. They turn around and say, oh, I knew it wasn't meant to be, and nothing ever works for me. Like, I knew this wasn't gonna happen anyway. I probably shouldn't even be doing this. And then they, go try something else for a half a minute, and, like, that's their world. They're not bad people, it's just that's how they're wired, if you will. And so you're not wired that way, and so,
I
to
thought
that
about
end,
it. But that was the easy way out
everybody
kind of
does,
thing, right? But
everybody kind of does.
you chase somebody down for a year, and to finally get in front of the right person, and it could almost happen and someone else come in and take the business. It was a big pill to swallow, but we were able to get around it.
No, listen, that's fantastic. That really speaks a lot to who you are as a person, as it pertains to adversity, and it is why you'd be a great fit here. So I'd like to offer you the position. Is this something you feel like you resonate with? Is this something you'd like to do?
Absolutely. I guess my question to you is, coming into insurance, I know you said that I'll have people who will mentor me and who will help me and show me around the first couple of times. Will that be kind of from beginning to end? Like, will they teach me how to find business? Will they teach me how to close business and service accounts and all of
those things?
Okay,
Sure
gotcha.
will. And what's really great is that some of the resources you'll have are W-2 resources. So what that means is that realistically, and I can't speak for any prior experiences you've ever had. Some people, if they've been in any kind of other sales arena before, the person who's training or mentoring them tends to take a cut of their business, kind of a thing. We don't do that here at all. So for the most part, you're gonna shadow a trainer and or your manager, we call them a DGA. You're gonna shadow them until you've learned each aspect of the business, and no one's gonna take anything from you.
Gotcha.
Even in the beginning where you're really just smiling and nodding, and getting free money, like that's literally the way things work here. So you'll definitely have all that training and support. There won't be any issues there. I guess basically the next step is to get you registered for the online course. So I'm gonna have our office manager, Adrian, reach out and register you for the online course. It's through Excel testing. So you'll get a couple of emails from Excel that'll have your profile in it and a link to start the course. But you'll also get an email from Adrian that is called like the licensing roadmap, and it tells you what to do first, second, third, fourth in terms of like the fingerprinting that we discussed yesterday on the call and scheduling the test that we discussed yesterday on the call. So it tells you what to do and where to do those things at. For the most part, as you heard me mention yesterday on the call, the average person takes about a week to do this course. Could it take longer sometimes? Sure. We don't suggest that you push it out and make it take longer if you can avoid it, because it's not exciting stuff, it's not riveting information, it's not going to engage you, it's very dry, and it really is a kind of a case of memorization and then regurgitation. Very little of it are you going to actually use in your career here, but it is a necessary evil, it's a formality. Just like the written part of the driving test, like you can do that all you want to and score amazing numbers, but if you can't physically drive a car for the instructor, like they're not going to give you a license, and that's kind of what the final test is for insurance. So you have to be able to complete that. So the 7-day part, we know that there's around 25 hours worth of coursework that it should take in order to get through the course. Now if you think about how many hours are in a work week, there's 40 hours in a work week, right? So if you're saying to me, I want a full-time job with Colonial Life, well, your full-time job wouldn't be 25 hours, would it? It'd be 40. So I guess what we're saying is it probably isn't hard for you to pull off 25 hours over 7 days when you'd normally work a full-time job 40 hours in 5. So you have to really dial in. Now again, is that gonna keep us from bringing you on board if it takes you 10 days? No. But just painting the picture for you that it is done pretty regularly in 7 days. I've actually even had people do it in 5. So, any questions on this at all?
No.
Excellent.
Everything's pretty straightforward.
Wonderful. Well, that's pretty much it. Adrian's gonna reach out, get you registered for the course. And we look forward to working with you, Brittany.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a great day, okay?